Hello. Thank you, Yanis. And thank everybody for coming today. I know it is a Tuesday, so things can get away from us on a Tuesday. But I wanted to begin with an event that took place just over a month ago now. On January 20 of this year, the inauguration of the 47th President of the United States took place. Held inside the Capitol Rotunda in Washington, D.C., the event gathered Trump's closest allies along with a host of foreign leaders. But as images of the event began to circulate, certain guests stood out, at least to me. Not because of their political office or diplomatic status, but because they represented the platforms, networks, and that define, mediate, and govern our daily lives. Meta, Amazon, Apple, Google, and Tesla stood together, not merely as guests, but as stakeholders in the political machinery of the new administration. Their presence was not incidental. It was a display of alignment, an unspoken pact between corporate power and state control. These are architects of the infrastructures that shape public discourse, the engineers of systems that govern economies, labor, and communications. Their platforms dictate what is seen, what is suppressed, and how participation is structured. It is a stark reminder of how seamlessly platform governance and state power have fused, not through elections or public mandates, but through the silent authority of interfaces, algorithms, and automated enforcement. They do not govern through manifestos or legislation, yet their decisions carry the force of law, determining which histories remain accessible, which voices are heard, and which movements are allowed to exist at all. They do not simply build tools, they build the conditions in which action is possible, and increasingly those conditions are one of enclosure. But this is no accident. Over the past year and a half, these platforms have deepened their alignment with authoritarian regimes, not through silence, but through active complicity. The mass shadow banning of pro-Palestinian content is not an anomaly. It is part of a long history of algorithmic suppression, a system designed to neutralize dissent, erase history, and manufacture reality in the interests of power. These are not glitches, they are functions. Software today is not neutral, it's a mode of governance enforcing political decisions, not through laws, but through interface, engagement metrics, and moderation policies. But software does not simply govern participation, it governs how we live. Each update arrives with a promise of improvement, a smoother interface, greater efficiency, a seamless experience. But embedded in these updates is a quiet bargain, one where we trade agency for convenience, autonomy for optimization, control for ease of use. And with each step towards integration, we trade our agency towards the image of a lifestyle. So to update is to accept, but not just new features, but new constraints. To accept the narrowing of choices of former progress, to internalize the logic of a system, to adjust ourselves to structures that do not adjust for us. Platforms promise connection, yet dictate the terms of participation, and tools that claim to empower, yet encode the mechanisms of compliance. So how could software shape action? What might it mean to act within systems designed to optimize administration, neutralize participation? And can we find agency within infrastructures that continually update us, governing perception or interaction or even decision-making? So today, the 16th edition of Tactics&Practice, it interrogates how software has become a system of governance, one that dictates the terms of participation. And today's speakers examine the logics of participation encoded within platforms, applications, and networked environments, asking where space for a collective organization and intervention still lies. They will ask what it means to reject the notion that technology is an inevitable force beyond intervention, beyond abolition, and invite us instead to think about software as a force that merely updates us, and instead to act against the systems that presume to do so. So rather than lament how these structures have come into being, they acknowledge them as consequence of a particular extractive order and ask instead what might still be possible. So to start today, we have a lecture performance. She's Evil Most Definitely Subliminal by Nora O'Murchú and Alex Kino. And together they explore how illusions, subliminals, and the qualification of imagery shape perception. And after the performance, they will be joined by my co-curator, Socrates, for a conversation on how these strategies rewire identity and allegiance and reshape identical culture and influencing beliefs. So thank you all for joining us, and we hope that you enjoy the day.